Well, good morning, everybody. We are officially starting our national Zoom property tour. My name is Scott Buckholtz. I am your host today for our property tour. I also have Yas Hakan. We do these property tours every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. As we are a national community of investors, we get to bring out one of our investors and share what they've got going on. And sometimes it's a fix and flip, sometimes it's a short term rental, sometimes it's a buy and hold or a new construction or a multifamily. But today we're actually going to be sharing Chinedu's, who is part of our community, his virtual wholesaling property tour that he's just wrapped up and closed on. So again, my name is Scott Buckholtz, and I am so excited to bring our featured investor out. So let's go ahead and do that if we could and get this going. Chinedu, come on out.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for spending your Saturday morning with me. You could have been anywhere right now, so I appreciate you guys coming to hear me share my story and the journey I went through just to get this my first deal done.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you out as well, Chinedu. So this is kind of a fun story too. You know that what Chinedu is going to share. He'd actually reached out to me as a potential buyer for these two properties, and at the time he reached out to me, I was very busy, had a lot of deals going on, had my resources tied up, and so I was not able to be involved in this. But it's kind of neat that I knew about this deal before he actually found his end buyer. So Chinedu, let's. A lot of people are not going to know who you are. They've never met you before. Of course, you're not. This is your first property tour out with us, but I know you're fairly new to the community, and so let's kind of do a little like intro, like talk about a little about your background, maybe a little bit of why did you get into real estate investing, how did you find our national community of investors? So could you share that a little bit with everybody?
Well, yeah, so a little bit about my background, right? My name is Chinedu, and I started off in law. I had dreams to be a lawyer. I don't know if it was my dreams, my mom's dream, but she always spoke about me being a lawyer. So I've been learning law since middle school, high school. I went to college for law 4 years, and about my third year in my law class, we had went to a trip to a courtroom, and just looking at the lawyers, they were all just unhappy and wearing suits, uncomfortable. It was 90 degrees, and I was like, I don't want that to be my future. So this COVID hit, and I just started learning, reading books, YouTube, and anything. I just got immersed in knowledge. And the great part about it is that when you learn it, you just get 100 questions. And the only problem I had was I had nobody to ask them to. So I started, just searching for mentorship and guidance and connections because I thought I only needed knowledge. So I joined the Rich Dad Poor Dad course because I was one of the first real estate books I ever read. But and I don't want to talk bad about them, but it made me realize I needed more than knowledge. I needed people to talk to, people to share ideas with. I needed, like, one thing I love is something step by step. So I needed something step by step. And I was on Eventbrite just looking for, real estate webinars, and I came across this community right here, and I checked them out for a couple months. Actually, I joined the Rich Dad Poor Dad course March 2021. I found Renatas in January, but I didn't join until April 2021. So once I realized they had what I was looking for plus more, I just joined. And I told myself I got into real estate for two reasons. One, I wanted time freedom and I wanted space. There's nothing I love more than my own time and my own space. So that's why I got into real estate, and I've been able to accomplish that in the 10 months that I've been with the community, and it's awesome.
That is such a cool story, Kennedy. That is such a cool story. So you wanted to be a lawyer. I mean, that's a great profession. I mean, it's a great career. I mean, I don't see how we're never not going to have lawyers or need lawyers. I know I have a great lawyer for my real estate. I have a personal lawyer as well, but I also have a great lawyer for my real estate. And so that's a great profession. And so you were 3 years into that, 3 years into it, and it sounds like you made a field trip to the courthouse. And that's a funny story. I went to college to be a CPA, and
Wow.
I was like my third year, and I was interning with a local CPA, and I was there a week, and I was like, this is not me. There's no way that I'm going to work behind a desk for the rest of my life. I'm a people person. I want to be out and about. And so that's kind of a cool story that you shared. So you changed gears, and you started plugging in to YouTube and all the different, there's so much out there, and it's such a collage of stuff. And then you found our community, and you did your due diligence, kind of checked it out a little bit. You said you found us in January, didn't get started till April, and then you put in a ton of hard work to get to where you are today. So proud of you,
Definitely.
man. So proud of you. And I know
Appreciate
there's a
that,
lot of
Scott.
other folks that are a part of this community that have got to know you, and just I'm just so I'm so excited for your future success too. So um, so today's tour is about a virtual property tour. And the reason we're saying it's virtual is because, Chinedu, where do you live at? What city and state are you living in?
Queens, New York, man.
You are a Queens boy. Okay. So he's in New York, and we got a lot of New York folks on today, by the way. And some of them are not a Queens. I saw Bronx on, and so I know you guys are kind of like rivals a little bit, but you got the Mets, you got the Yankees, but you got the different hockey teams, and so basketball teams. But anyway, so you're in Queens, New York, okay? And these two deals that you did were in Louisville, Kentucky. So
Yes.
that's a little bit of a drive, brother. I can tell you I live an hour and 15 minutes from Louisville, and it takes me about 11, let's just say 12 to 12 and a half hours to get to New York
Oh,
City, get to
man.
that area. So so again, this deal was a virtual deal for you. So let's talk about how you went about the process of finding these deals. Like, how did you get these under contract as a wholesaler? And let's talk about that a little bit, because a lot of people who are starting in real estate, and we'll have folks on today that maybe have never done a deal, maybe they're already a part of our community, maybe they're looking at it going, hey, is this the group I want to connect with? Are these guys really doing deals? And uh, so how did you determine, and how did you find these deals in Louisville, Kentucky?
Okay. So when I first started the community, right? Joe, Joe, my mentor from the New York team, he'd always say, real estate comes in three waves. You have to learn the concept, practice the concept, and take action on the concept. So, I used to come to all the trainings, the mastermind, the 10 a.m. calls, and just see how other investors analyze deals, see their mindset when they're doing it, see the kind of questions that they ask, and just pairing that with my training, my own education training. I just got immersed in it. So after learning from them and then learning on my own, I started practicing. Like in one of our classes, the instructor says you can find a deal in 6 minutes, and then he shows you how. So I tell myself all the time, I write it down like, yo, you got 6 minutes right now, go find a deal. So I'm on all the resources that the instructor gave us. So if I'm in line somewhere, a long line, I love it. I got 6 minutes. I'm on the train, I got 6 minutes. I'm in a restaurant, I got 6 minutes. So I'm always looking, practicing, looking to find a deal. So I found a couple deals, started analyzing them, but my confidence wasn't there yet. So I called sellers up all the time, knowing I wasn't gonna pull the trigger on it, but just to get comfortable doing it. So after analyzing about 50, 60 deals, I finally found one that I was gonna entertain. So called up the seller, asked all the questions that we're trained to ask, like how many beds and bathrooms, what's the square footage, why are you selling for? Like, this is a beautiful property. Why sell now at all times? What are you looking to get for it? What needs to be repaired? You know, like what do you need to walk away with to have a smile on your face? Because I realized that people are selling for a problem, not really for money. So if I can solve their problem, it's still a good deal. So finally, after getting all those questions answered, I brought it to the mastermind. I brought it to the team because I just wanted some backup. So I put my deal on the board, and they just started asking me the questions. You know, they asked me this question, boom, I was ready for it. They asked me that, I was ready for it. I already did my research. So now they're going back and forth about my deal. At this point, I'm not even talking. They're just analyzing my deal like it stairs, and that was one of the cool parts about it. So they confirmed that it was a good deal. So I went back to the seller, shot her an offer, and you know, it was negotiation time. So I was learning the whole time like how to get the deal, how to make sure it was a good deal, how to run the numbers, how to negotiate and talk to the sellers, and you know, how to get into the deal with no money. So once I finally got my offer accepted, it was like, oh, I'm not prepared for the next step. I
It's
wasn't
like
prepared.
reality hit, right? Like reality
Yeah,
hit.
yeah, like, you know, I didn't feel like I was ready, and I thought about it, and I'm just like, who's telling you you're not ready, bro? So I did it, and come to find out I wasn't ready, but just you know, going through the process and the journey it helped me get ready and made me realize what I actually needed to get ready. So the growth through what I was learning before just to get the deal up until getting the yes was like wow, you know. So it was time to just take more classes, get more training. Like I didn't even know how to draft the forget draft the contract. I didn't know how to read the contract, you know. So I spent all this time in criminal justice trying to be a lawyer, and I've never seen a contract in my life, you know. So I was taking my contracts class and taking my wholesaling class, and I was up all night, man, just like trying to understand the contract language because the seller sent me a contract, but in my wholesale class, the instructor, Chris Wilson, he says, you have to send a contract to the seller and to the buyer. So I had to, you know, take my contract class and just understand what's in it first of all, and then you know, make sure I have some escape clauses, which I didn't add, and because I was so excited, you know, my first yes. I've been hearing no, 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 your offer's too low, not a chance in hell. I got my first yes. I'm a little excited, still had that excitement on me. So I didn't add any escape clauses, but it was still good that I was able to get the property off. But yeah, that was the whole
That's awesome.
process up into getting it.
Yeah, so I love you've shared a lot of great golden nuggets here. One thing that I want to just expand on a little bit because I find a lot of people who get started in real estate, whether they're trying to do a wholesale, whether they're trying to find a flip, whether they're trying to find a rental property, they want to find it right away. They're like, I want to get this deal under contract right away. I want to find a deal. I want to do a deal. I want to do another deal right away. And what you said is so powerful. And I love your mindset. I love your drive, Chinedu, because you told everybody you like analyze 50 or 60 deals. And, you know, one of my mentors in our community told me really early on is be in a hurry to analyze your first 100 deals. Take your time doing your first one. And that always sunk in with me. And I remember when before I did my first deal, you know, I probably looked at 40 or 50 as well, like you did. And so that's a great share that you just did with everybody. So let's talk a little bit about your marketing and talk about, you know, a little bit about that. And I don't know if you want to wait to cover that in your slide, or you want to go ahead and start pulling your slides up, showing the properties, talk about your marketing. Are you ready to do that?
Yeah, let's pull it up. Let's everybody see a piece of my journey real quick. All right, so this is a property right here, right? And can you see it? Perfect, right? So this is one of the properties. There was two properties and it was right next door to each other. So that was cool. And I thought that would have been a great selling point, like I came into this thinking that real estate, thinking wholesaling was easy, you get a property on a contract, you find a buyer and boom. But it's it's simple. The concept is real simple, but it's work, like you really like it's not a hustle, it's a service because you got to make sure that the seller is getting their problem solved, but you also got to make sure that that the property is selling aligns with the buyer's goals, So I had to really take a step back and just, ask more questions. So I asked Carlos because Carlos he's a guy from the New York team as well. He helped me structure the deal. He actually gave me the idea to wholesale it because I was gonna keep it for myself. But I was, like I said, I was busy learning how to get the deal, how to make sure it was a good deal, how to run the numbers, how to negotiate with sellers, and how to get into deals with no money. But I wasn't focusing on where to get the money. I have that knowledge. Well, I have those classes, but I wasn't taking it because I was the thing about focus. When you focus on one thing, nothing else matters. So I couldn't get money in that short period of time because I already had the deal on the contract. So, like Scott said in the beginning, I reached out to him, just to, because everybody told me, at least six people told me, oh, you got a deal in Kentucky? Hit up Scott, hit up Scott, hit up Scott. So when I hit up Scott, Scott is like, I don't even deal with Louisville. But so I asked Scott, like, do you know where I can get a money lender? And he told me something. He was like, and this stuck with me a lot. He said, build relationships. It's a process. So that I spent like a day just thinking about that, and I realized like I have to build relationships with my buyers. It's the process. So I had to, really forget about selling my property and find out about my buyers. So I learned to ask my buyers, a couple questions just to make sure, dude, should I even waste your time showing you this property? So I had to ask them, like, what kind of properties do you own already? Because if you bought something like this before, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna buy it again. Like, who doesn't like a repeat customer, right? Like, what's important to you in your next purchase? Like, do you care about the cash flow, the equity, the location? Is it cash on cash return? And if he said cash flow, I'm only talking about the cash flow for my property. Like before, I was telling all the information, and Carlos was telling me, yo, you can't do that because you may have 100 facts, but the buyer only cares about 5. So at that point, you're kind of just like vomiting information on them that they don't even care about. Like with with another property, right? I was negotiating with a buyer, and I really couldn't understand why he was fighting me over $2,000. Like, you work hard to get all this money. Like, why not spend a little more to get what you want? So I found out that he wanted a 32% return on investment and to recoup in 3 years. That's all he cared about. So I had to run my numbers to show him, hey, you may not get the 32% in year 1, but you'll get 28. And in year 2, you get 43. So, is that can we work it out like that? And, just knowing what's going to make the buyer make a move was real important because I spent maybe about 20 days just blindly marketing to anybody who looked like they invest in Louisville. But I seen that was slowing me up because I had no target. I was just shooting everywhere. So this is a property right here. They were right next to each other, like I said. One of them were newly renovated, and it looked real, real clean. The tenant had just moved in there maybe like a month before I got it under contract. And this is a picture of when I was telling you guys when I first got my offer accepted. I was up all night taking my contracts class, taking my wholesaling class, just figuring out step by step what to do before the yes, what to do during the yes, and what to do after the yes. Because it's real estate really comes in waves. It's so crazy, right? And this is just some of the marketing material that I had posted online. Another team member who's on this call right now, Doug. Doug was also a member who I was gonna try to sell this to because he invests in Louisville. So at the time, I didn't catch Doug at a good time, but Doug definitely helped me fix the verbiage just so I can attract more buyers with the language and my marketing material. So that was great. They was eating it up. Appreciate you, Doug. And a couple of challenges I was going through was the tenants had called the seller and was like, you're selling this property because the seller didn't tell the tenants that they were selling the property. So the tenants called the seller like, you're selling this property, you didn't tell me, you got all my belongings online, you know, the whole 9 yards. And the seller called me and was like, yo, we can't get any buyers in the property unless they're under contract. So that set me back too, because typically in real estate, no buyer is getting under contract before they see the property. So I had to, that pushed me back a little more. So I was telling buyers, hey, if you like this property, you really love it, you know, you have to get under contract to see it. You know, I don't want to hold you hostage. That's just the terms I'm working with. And you know, that turned off a lot of people. Like there was so many things about this deal that was turning off buyers because I got into this deal with no buyers list. But me marketing helped me create a buyers list because buyers, they don't want to be on the list. They just want to know, do you have a property? Like, so me marketing this, a whole bunch of buyers would reach out to me and I marketed every single day, any chance I got to, because that's what the instructor said. You have to market until it's sold because buyers are looking at properties 24/7. So I had this one buyer who I followed up on, and he was like, man, if you didn't send me another email, I would have never seen the first time you sent it to me. So, like, you know, you got to follow up. You got to get in front of people's faces, as many people's faces as you can. So, like, and just having a life, you know, like I live with my family. I got a little brother. I got to help him with homework. I got to feed him. I got to feed myself. So just balancing all of that and still trying to make something happen, it was a real challenge. But you know, just with the support of the team, and they was helping me market. Like I didn't even ask them to. I go on Facebook, I go on Instagram. They marketed my deal for me too, just getting in front of more people. So that was awesome. Just being able to reach a couple of people that I would have never reached by myself. And
That is so inspiring. No, no, no. You're on a roll. You're doing a great job. I mean, obviously, anybody on today can just really hear your excitement, your passion, your drive. You know, I love. I mean, I feel the same way about our community as you do. I mean, obviously, you know, it's been a big part of your growth. Not only, you know, your growth, but actually putting this deal together and getting this deal sold. And so, no, you're doing a great job sharing everything. And so I know you had told me that both of these properties, which are right next door to each other, were tenanted. And you just shared that with folks that, you know, the tenants found out. And I have this happen a lot, Chinedu, just like what you just said. A lot of times the tenants don't even know that the seller is selling the property. They don't tell them about it. Now, some of the sellers are right up front with you, but very seldom do they tell you that. And then you kind of stumble into, oops, I didn't even know this. And obviously, you know, for whatever reason, the seller felt that he didn't want to, or she didn't want to share it. So you were able to manage through that. You were able to maneuver through the marketing, the buyers list, and how many days did you put this under contract? You got this under contract as a wholesaler for how many days did you have?
I got it under contract for 25 days because the seller wanted to sell it by New Year's Eve.
Woo, that's about as tight a time frame as our time frame on a wholesale deal that I've seen. 25 days. You got 25 days, no pressure, right? No pressure. Your first deal, you're feeling all this excitement, and then you're feeling this, oh, you know, you probably had that lump in your stomach like somebody punched you kind of during this process. And you got 25 deals to get this deal, 25 days to get this deal done. That's amazing. So you're about to talk about some knowledge here, and yeah, and I'm glad I was hoping you would remember our conversation about the relationships, and because, you know, when I meet a lot of people like you do now that we're real estate investors. I've been doing this been a part of this community for a little over 6 years, and I know when I first found this community, Chinedu, I had a mindset of, you know, money and time were the most important currencies. And I understood knowledge was important and I understood relationships, but I didn't understand to the level of how important that knowledge and relationships together and applying that knowledge with the right relationships, how that can just open doors for you. Like you said earlier, like there, it comes in, it just like it pours in. When it comes in, right? The deals. And
Yeah.
so talk a little bit, you've shared quite a bit of the different classes, the wholesaling, the contracts, the negotiations. You want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so these are I took everything here, but these are the two classes that helped me the most in this deal right here. So real estate foundations, where I realized, and it's so crazy, I realized I can find a potential deal in just 6 minutes. Like who knew? 6 minutes can really turn into 10,000, 20,000, $30,000 just so spending some time on it because it's nuts. That's why I learned how to talk to sellers because I'm not gonna lie, the seller gave me 25 days to sell a deal. And I thought that was nothing because I thought wholesaling was easy. But I was so intimidated just to call her up and let her know, like, hey, I'm having trouble finding a buyer. So the team would be like, yo, just call her up. Contracts get extended all the time. So I called her up and she was so cool about it. And I'm like, wow, I probably should have called you earlier just to get it extended. And then real estate red flags is how I learned how to run my numbers, how I learned how to what else? How to analyze a deal, how to figure out to do my due diligence, how to figure out issues with the title, how to analyze repairs. Because this was a rental property. So what are the bonuses of having a rental property? So that really helped me with my marketing and talking to buyers like, yeah, this has great appreciation. You can get your money back with the principal pay down. This is your ROI, all the stuff that buyers are really looking for. And another three classes that helped me, contracts class. Man, if I didn't have that contracts class, I don't even think I'd still have this property. Well, I don't think I would have got that property under contract because going with the seller's contract, it covered it CYA for her, but it didn't CYA for me. So that was great. Market analysis was another great class because I'm in Queens, New York, and the property is in Louisville, Kentucky. I've never been there. I don't know where it is on the map. I don't know anybody from there. So that class helped me be a citizen in another state. I realized what zip codes I should invest in, what is the average price for houses in that home? Like how many days is the home stay on the market? Who do I need to speak to? Where's the most cash transactions happening? Where are the danger zones? What's the path of progress for the Louisville, Kentucky market? And come to find out that Kentucky is actually a great market, and I plan on staying there for pretty much the rest of the year because I've learned so much about Kentucky that I don't even know about Brooklyn, the Bronx, or the city. So I love it. I love it over there. And wholesaling, of course, I needed that because marketing this deal was a challenge because I had buyers telling me everything. Oh, it's overpriced. They're lowballing me. They're like, I'm not going to let this New York guy come in here and set the tone for the market. And then the wholesale teacher's like, I'm not going back and forth with a buyer. If he doesn't want it, boom, on to the next one. Don't waste your time, your marketing efforts talking to somebody who can't say yes or no because you'll lose out on money doing that. So that class was great. It was giving me confidence because that instructor, he just tells it how it is. So that helped me be real confident with my deal. And I had to after my deal wasn't selling, I had to go back and sell myself on the deal. Like, Chin, why is this a good deal? And then, I had to sell it to myself first. So once I did that, anything a buyer told me, I wasn't hearing it. So is those classes definitely gave me the start and the foundation I need just to push to the closing table.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I love that you're going to talk about all the support that you have received so far and that you can share with other folks. That's great.
Okay, so the mastermind, right? I spoke briefly about the mastermind earlier, and that's where I went to, just get some more eyes on my deal. So we analyzed the deal from start to finish just to make sure it was a good deal. And like I said, like at one point I had left the mastermind, to go feed my little brother. And I came back and they still had my deal on the board, still analyzing it, thinking about the possibilities, how to sell it. Like it was amazing. And the daily webinars was cool because throughout the week I was facing challenges. Like the property, it was one property, a lot in the middle, and another property. And the lot has its own address, right? So marketing the deal, the buyers were getting turned off because they thought the lot was another property. And once I told them it wasn't, they got turned off. Once I told them it wasn't big enough to build something on it, they got turned off. So, the team was telling me how I can maneuver through it. And any challenges I faced, I just went there because it's every day, 10 a.m. Monday through Friday. I'm going there with questions, going there with ideas. Like, can you help me fix this idea? Because I'm having trouble just selling this deal. So that was good to get some support and really have people answer my phone calls any time of the day when I was stuck. I think that's irreplaceable.
It is, Chinedu. That's so, we've got a lot of people on today that this may be their first property tour, or maybe they're just kind of for the first time or second time kind of checking out our community. Someone that's already a part of the team has invited them out to kind of check things out. And I'm so glad that you shared some additional material today about our community and about the support. And for me, it was the icing on the cake. To be a part of this community was the icing for me on the cake. But I do want to insert something here, guys, for everybody on today. If you want to learn more about what Chinedu has been talking about today, as far as the community, the collaboration, the mentorship, the education, we would suggest or recommend we have something right after today's property tour. It starts about 5 minutes after the top of the hour, and we call it an introduction. So you can actually plug in and learn more about what Chinedu's been talking about and kind of peel the layers back, so to speak, and get a little bit deeper on stuff. So get back to whoever invited you. They can get you a link and you can join that right after this. It runs about 45 minutes to 90 minutes long, but it'll be a lot more detailed for you, and it'll be well worth your time. So yeah, go ahead and talk about your marketing as well, because I found this very fascinating. Go for it.
Marketing was big because man, if you're gonna take action, you gotta take massive action. I mean, I'm talking about reach your goals action, everything you've ever imagined. Like that's how much action you gotta take. And I realized my first week getting the property and the contract, I was getting no results because I wasn't taking that much action. And the action was marketing. Like you can only sell a deal if people know about it. So I had to, triple my efforts. So I'd post on Facebook Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in 8 different groups because on Facebook there's only 2 Kentucky chats. So I had to go on the map and just see what are the surrounding areas of Kentucky. So I seen it was Ohio, Indiana, what else? Chicago was around the Pennsylvania. So I go in those chats and just also market my deal because I live in New York. I've looked at properties in New Jersey. So I know people are looking in the state right next to them to find deals. So I do that 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 times a day. And then I spend Tuesday and Thursday following up. Following up is so big because buyers are busy. Like they spend their time either trying to double their money, protect their money, or find more deals. So I got to get in front of them as much as possible, really just bothering them. I emailed over 300 people. I answered and sent over 60 Facebook messages. I bought a cash buyers list, which I was so disappointed. There was like 100 emails on them, and I spent $10 on it, and that's probably the only money I spent on this deal to get a cash buyers list with 100 emails, and 85% of them went bad. So literally, I had to just go back to the basics and go back on Facebook, because once you post the property on Facebook, you tell them, hey, drop your email, DM me. Everybody's dropping their email. So I spent one by one emailing everybody. I made about 30 phone calls. I went on Google. I searched up a couple acquisition companies in the area. Man, I don't even know how many people I spoke to. Like I started this deal with 0 cash buyers, no cash buyer list, no emails, no phone numbers, no nothing besides the people in the community. But I didn't spend the time when I got here making connections with the people who buys in Kentucky. So I just went the natural route, looking for strangers, and now I have about 400 cash buyers in Kentucky, about 100 in Ohio, a couple in Indiana. So just off this one property, marketing, talking to as many people as I can, getting it in front of as many faces as I can. I got a cash buyers list, you know. So as I'm doing deals now, I don't have to do this much work because the first property I already set the tone. They already know that I'm sending deals. I already know which buyers are gonna make the move, which one of them actually have cash, which one of them need hard money. And man, I was getting so uncertain because they say wholesaling is easy. You find a seller, you find a buyer. Like I was finding buyers, but half the buyers didn't even want what I had. So like that's what I'm saying. It's simple because you got to realize and be aware that is the buyer even looking for what you're selling right now? And even if he is he buying deals right now? Because like there's buyers who saying, yeah, I do like that deal, but all my cash is tied up, or I'm not even in the area, or nah, I'm not feeling that deal right there. So the marketing is what really set the tone because I did all of this really just to sell one property. And I have this screenshot at the bottom of the screen because that's another thing that gave me some hope. Because once my contract date was coming up, I was getting a little discouraged, not even a little, but a lot discouraged. Like I was stressing, you know, because I was thinking my contract date is here. The seller is gonna say, you know what, time to part ways. You didn't get it sold, nothing. And then Ryan on the team, he's like, contracts get extended all the time. It's normal. So once I seen that, I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna call her up. I'm just gonna be 100% honest with her. And she was so cool about it. It was a blessing just to have a cool seller. She was an investor as well, so I guess she seen where I was coming from. And I didn't mention this earlier, but when I had first called her to get the deal on the contract, you know, she had asked me, was I a wholesaler? And I was gonna lie about it, be like, no, I'm not a wholesaler, you know. But the instructor was like, if you have to lie about any part about your business, you're in trouble. So you know, I paused for a second, but I told her, like, yeah, I am a wholesaler. And she was like, okay, thank you for being honest. Because I was dealing with a couple wholesalers and they didn't tell me, and it was a mess. So she's been understanding since day one, and that was that made the process easier because it was already stressful to sell. So that's my marketing efforts right there.
Again, you continue to share so much great information and all the golden nuggets you're sharing with people. I love the comment you just made about if you've got to find yourself anywhere in your business needing to be dishonest or not be straightforward, then that's a problem. And you know that is you talked about the wholesale deal, just that the name, the title wholesaler, and a part of that problem, Chinedu, because you've gone about this the right way, but a part of that problem is wholesalers get really a bad name. They get that whole thing because, and I can just be honest with people on today too, because I've been doing this for a little while now. I probably get 5 to 10 deals a week, every week, and pretty much every wholesaler that sends me something, besides maybe one wholesaler, I don't even look at their deals because they're not structured right. They don't know their numbers. They don't know their ARVs. They don't know repair costs. And it's just a waste of time. And, you know, I have found early on that I was spending too much time training wholesalers. And it's because they didn't have the knowledge. And so that they have, Chinedu, and I can see where your seller could have been a little apprehensive because, you know, there's a lot of wholesalers out there. They just don't have a clue what they're doing. And I get it. I mean, you know, our business right now is through the roof. There's such short inventory. Everybody's getting into real estate. And so you can get lucky and get a deal done. But obviously you don't want luck to do anything with your business, right? This is something you're going about it the right way. You still there with us or did we lose you? We may have lost him for just a second. He'll be back on.
Looks
so
like he's
get ready.
muted.
What's
Looks
that,
like
sir?
he's muted, Scott. Looks like he's muted.
Okay. Chinedu, you're muted. I know he's getting ready to share the numbers.
I didn't even know I was muted. Ooh, we
Yep.
got
So
120 people here.
yeah, a lot of people. Yep. So I know you're getting ready to share the numbers, right?
Right.
Awesome.
Can you hear me?
Yes, awesome. But when we lost you for a little bit, I was giving you some kudos about how you've gone about your business the right way. I told you earlier, and I'll continue to tell you how proud I am of you. But you're inspiring. You know, just getting started and what you've gone through and your persistence, and the fact that you never gave up. And it'd be really easy because I know wholesalers, Chinedu, that have got into a deal and they couldn't find a buy and they just walked away from it. They let their contract expire and they go, well, I couldn't get that one sold, so I gotta go find another one and get that under contract. And just again, very inspiring, very inspiring.
Hey, I'll be honest with you, Scott. I had those thoughts came across my mind because even after I couldn't find a buyer, I tried to make myself feel good. It was like, okay, I'm just gonna go get another property under contract, and if the first one falls through, at least I can make money on the second one. So I did that. I found another property in the contract, but I used it to help me find a buyer for the first one. So I'd market the second one. If they said no, I'd be like, hey, I got this one too, and that was another way for me to generate more buyers. So I'll be honest, those thoughts all crossed my mind, but just staying motivated from the team, like they just tell me, oh, this is normal. Like what you're going through is the process, the journey, stick through it. So I gained a little more confidence through the team and the support. And I spoke to a couple people like even Joe, Jason, Ron. I even called Tamara sometimes for some pointers, and she was one of the people who helped me market my deal with me. So yeah, I went through all the emotions, man. It was real an emotional roller coaster.
Well, we appreciate your honesty and just your humility, you know, just the fact that you're sharing all that with us. We did have a great question. So from day one, how long did it take you to get the deal closed?
How long did it take me to get the deal closed?
How many days?
38, 38 days from getting it under
38 days.
contract. Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. So now these two properties were right next door to each other. We've had a lot of people jump on late here. These two properties were right next door to each other. They were already tenanted. Renovations and rehab had been done on them prior. So whoever that's a great thing for a buyer. Turnkey property that you're not going to have to acquire and start doing a bunch of repairs right off the get go. You're cash flowing from day one. That's very interesting and very exciting. You know, that's definitely a big plus for you. And but again, let's jump into the numbers before we run out of time here and share everybody.
Okay, cool. So one thing I didn't say, I had this property under contract twice with two buyers before I found my third buyer. My first buyer who I had in a contract with, she had caught COVID through the process, and she was just saying she can't move forward with the deal. She's not up to it. Cool. Totally understandable. I didn't even know what to say to that. I wanted to tell her, fight through it. Let's close. This is gonna make you feel better. But I let it go. Second buyer who got under contract, she drove past it and was like, you know what, I changed my mind. So from there I learned before I even, really entertain the buyer more, I'm gonna tell them, go see the property, experience it for yourself before you say you want to move forward. Because I didn't want to go through that again. So my third buyer, he was a plumber. And what made this a good deal for him, he was just looking for a property with equity that he could put his plumbing money into. He said he did a lot of money plumbing. He wasn't really sold on cash flow. He just wanted equity. So I got the property under contract for 149, sold it for 152. My fee was 3K. And in the wholesale class, the instructor was like, he meets a lot of first time wholesalers and they hear the number $10,000 everywhere and they try to hit a home run on every deal. So he was like, just come up with a number with what you need and go for that. So I analyzed my budget and I was like, okay, I need $1,500 a month comfortably just to be me, you know? That's how much it costs to be Chinedu a month. So I was like, cool, let me double it. Let me see if I could provide for myself for 2 months. Excuse me. So that's what I did. I went for $3,000 and I was able to get that. And the bottom is my buyer's numbers. So he brought it for 152. His closing cost was 5K. As Scott said, the property was turnkey and it already had tenants in it, cash flow from purchase. So he had no repair costs, which he loved. And his ARV was 190, and he's getting cash flow of $600 a month.
That is awesome. Now, this particular buyer, you kind of shared with everybody, he was a plumber. And so I would take it he was a local plumber in the Louisville market.
Correct.
And did you find him through your marketing, or did somebody word of mouth, or how did that
I
come?
found him through my marketing.
Through your marketing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you shared also with everybody, because this is really important, guys. And you've mentioned it earlier too, Chinedu. You've got to, through a set of questions, okay, controlling the conversation, asking the right questions to find out what was really important to your buyers. And in this particular situation, he wasn't so wrapped up in cash flow, even though he is cash flowing. That's $600. That's an NOI, correct? Net operating income. So he wasn't so much tied up in that number. It was the equity. It was the asset itself, correct? Someplace to put his money. And guys, at the end of the day, there are a lot of folks out there who are finding and looking for places to put their money. And so again, that was his key thing. He wanted somewhere to, a good asset that he didn't have repairs to get involved. It was already rented, turnkey, and he's still going to net operate on a monthly basis of $600. That is awesome. That is fantastic. Let's see. I think we got a couple questions here that popped in. We just answered that one for Edmund. Where did we find the buyer? Ravi, we've just answered that one. How much did it cost to repair that? Those were already done. Edmund, how many days did it take to turn? Great. We're already getting these questions. That's wonderful. And then Bridget has a comment. I did tell folks that all the time. Don't need 10 every deal. Understanding what makes the deal work for you is key. And you're absolutely right, Bridget. So again, Chinedu, what a great property tour today. You've shared so many golden nuggets. And I know this is going to sound, I'm so impressed today with where you've come from and where you are today. And just to listen to you and hear you about your mindset, this is amazing. And man, I if you ever get a deal in my neck of the woods, I'm going to look at your emails. I'm going to look at the deals, because you know what's important for an investor. You know what we're looking for, and you know the right questions to ask. And again, it's been so awesome that you shared today about the community support and about the collaboration and the education and the knowledge that you gained. And boom, Bobby. I agree. Boom. So I do want to throw this in one more time, guys. If you were off and came on a little bit late, if you want to learn more about what Chinedu's been talking today about, the community, about the mentorship, about collaboration, about education, all of this, we do have right after this meeting, right at the top of the hour, maybe 5 after, we do have what we call an introduction that introduces you to our community and what we do and how we do it. And that's on a separate link. So get back to who invited you. They'll get you that link so you guys can attend if you want to. And it's well worth your 90 minutes of time. So Chinedu, to wrap up here, if we could, I always like to ask, and I'm going to be listening so closely to what you say here. As someone who's just started out, and you've given your backstory, you were going to be a lawyer, you were 3 years into college to be a lawyer. You shared about how you found one of the gurus, the Rich Dad Poor Dad group. You did a seminar with them, a workshop, how you found our community. how would you, or what could you leave for everybody on today, that would be, something they could take away from this as far as becoming an investor, getting started, taking action, any of those type of things? What would you like to share with everybody?
And that's a great question. Um, honestly, I would say, don't get in your own way. Like that's one thing I can say. If you know what you want to do, like if, for example, if real estate is something that you want to do, and you feel like, I don't have the connections, I don't have the resources, I don't have the money, those things are attainable. So like, don't get in your own way. If you find what you're looking for, go for it. And when you go for it, like, don't hold back. Just take massive action, and just do it. Literally, just do it. Even if you feel like you're not ready, just do it, because you'll get ready through the process, and you'll grow through it, and you'll be grateful that you did it. So that's one thing I could say. Just don't get in your own way, and just take massive action, and just get obsessed with learning, because the knowledge comes before the money, and I had to learn that myself. So that's one thing I'll say.
Well, that is a great parting comment. You, again, great golden nuggets there. We really appreciate the sharing. And guys, this has been a great property tour. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. And we will not be back next Saturday. We're going to take Saturday off next week as we have a national conference. Our community has a national conference that we do annually, and we're all going out to Salt Lake City to network together, to continue to build relationships and to learn. So we will be back with you in 2 weeks on Saturday, and we'll be featuring another one of our investors from somewhere across the country. And otherwise, we're going to wrap up. Chinedu, thank you very much again. Look forward to seeing you sometime this year, and personally, because COVID's kind of made it really tough to connect personally. So we appreciate you taking the time out. Guys, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks. Everybody have a great weekend.